Hey everybody, Brett from AstartesGaming here, back with the first episode in what's going to be a playthrough of Hearts of Iron 4 as Poland. Our goal, essentially, is to divert history a bit here and try to have Poland survive Germany's initial onslaught and eventually avoid the Soviet Union's conquest of our lands as well. And so I have looked at a couple of, not guides, but some suggestions on how to do this, because I'm still pretty much a novice at this game. I have a lot of hours put into Hearts of Iron 2, but I really didn't like Hearts of Iron 3 at all, and so I barely played that game. And then I came into Hearts of Iron 4 really late. So I've played about half of a campaign with, I think it was Japan, but I've never played a campaign all the way through, so I'm still, very new to this game. But I have a pretty good idea of how it works, at least for the most part. I'm always, of course, open to tips and suggestions that you guys might have. But I did look at some suggestions on how to pull this off. And we are running historical AI national focuses. And so one thing that we're going to have to do in this playthrough is try to disrupt Germany's national focuses. That's probably the only way that we'll survive this. And to do that, we're basically going to need to be very aggressive, surprisingly. Turtling is not going to work for us here. We need to go after some certain national focuses that are going to allow us to declare war early, and we're going to try to take essentially Slovakia here. So we're going to leave this territory alone, but we're going to grab up this chunk if we can. And then I've also seen suggestions where it could be worth going after these states here, so Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia. So we'll probably have to do something like that. And then, as far as I can tell, Hungary is probably going to declare war on us no matter what. So we have basically 3 neighbors that we know are coming for us at some point. And our goal is basically just to become too strong for them to deal with before they deal with us. So anyway, let's get started organizing our country here. We have a lot to set up, obviously. Also, we're playing as Poland. All the unit names are going to be in Polish, and this music is kind of distracting. I hope I don't get copyright claimed for this. I thought I turned the music DLC off, but this sounds new, and so I'm worried now that I didn't. I'm going to get copyright claimed to hell. But anyway, the unit names are all going to be in Polish, and I'm going to do my best to keep them accurate. We might have to create some new unit names, and we'll do our best to make them lore friendly, I guess. We'll try to figure out what the Polish name for that would be. I know a couple of my subscribers and commenters are Polish or familiar with Polish, so I will probably be asking for your help there. But feel free to correct any of my pronunciations. I'll do my best to avoid the challenging words. Anyway, so we need a national focus first, and we're going to start with strengthening the Polish state. Our goal is to get to here as early as possible. So we should be able to do that in 210 days. But this is going to allow us to justify war goals really early, and that's what we need. So we're going to start here. Then we have unassigned divisions. That's fine. I can take care of that in a second. Our manpower is low. That's concerning, because that's going to be difficult to deal with. But we'll make it work. Insufficient resources, so we're probably going to have to trade early, which I don't like doing. But we do have free civilian factories. Let's take care of research first. How are we doing here? The way I like to break this up is I usually do the top one as some sort of military technology. So, one of these 3, whether it be infantry, support stuff, armor, artillery, or doctrines, I like to keep this top one dedicated to something in those. The middle one, I'll usually do somewhere in Navy, naval doctrines, air doctrines, or possibly one of these 2. And the bottom one, I always keep dedicated to engineering and industry. So let's take care of that first. That's probably a good place to start. Both of those would be good places to start. So let's see. Synthetic oil would be nice, but it's a bit early for that. Let's get machine tools. With this one, I'll probably grab mechanical engineering. And then here, I don't think that we are... Actually, that would be a decent idea. That's a tough call, because we should probably get these fairly soon. We're actually behind the 8 ball on that one. But there are national focuses that will make it easier for us to get these. So it might be worth waiting on that. Let's see. These are all 180. For armor, it might be worth going for a modern tank, or at least a semi-modern tank, because this is a World War I era tank. Let's see. We also have anti-tank artillery. That's kind of important because we're going up against Germany and the USSR here, so we've got some heavy hitters in terms of tanks, and that could really help us. We also need to choose a... Oh, no, we're actually committed to the Grand Battle Plan Doctrine. I don't know if I want to stick with that. I think superior firepower might be better in this situation, because we're going to be really reliant on artillery. Trench warfare, huh? Well, either way, I don't want to invest 270 days into one of these techs. There are national focuses that will help us get these quicker too. I think anti-tank artillery is a good place to start. So let's do those 3. Now we need to figure out our construction. So I have 17 factories. 8 of them are dedicated to consumer goods, so that leaves me with 9 that I can either trade away or use to produce stuff. And I think that we should probably start with building more civilian factories. Looks like Warsaw is completely full up there, so where else do we want to build? We got 2 slots here. Maybe I should build it up there. I want to stick to areas that have good infrastructure, though. So this would be a good place, probably. So Krakow. Let's see. Hold on. I lost track of what I was doing there. So this is... Right. I guess either would work. They have the same infrastructure. But I meant to do it here. Okay, so civilian factories. Let's throw down 2 right there for now. We don't have too much time to focus on civilian factories, because we are going to need to start making military ones. But I'd like to get at least up to probably 20. I think 20 would be a good number. I mean, I'll probably continue building them throughout, but eventually we need to start, wartime production, and we can't keep building civilian factories through that time. Now we need to look at our actual production here. So we have no aluminum. We have no rubber. We don't have anything except for steel and a little bit of oil, really. Interwar fighters. I don't know if that's even worth building right now. Where are we at in terms of plane research? So I can make close air support planes. That might be a better investment, just because these are dated, and I'm going to want to grab this research as soon as I can. So it's probably not worth building any of these, because they're going to be what's the word, like antiques by the time that we're actually going to war. So let's cancel that production. And let's see, what else could I be making instead? I am going to want artillery for my infantry division, so I could start making that now. Or I can start building close air support aircraft, because we have those ready. That would use the oil, but I would need to trade for rubber and aluminum, and that's going to be difficult. But I already need the aluminum, so that's not too bad. Let's see, because I think I can do Not going to bother with that. Although we could craft those fairly cheaply. We wouldn't need to trade for anything. But I have no desire to make those tanks, so let's focus on... I kind of want towed artillery, but the anti-air artillery doesn't require any tungsten, so that might be better to start with. I guess we should probably look at our templates and see what we need to do here. So the way combat works in this, if you're not familiar with it, and I'll try to explain this from like a noob's perspective, is basically in one province you can only really have 4. Well, it depends on the unit's width, so let's go into here first. Every division is going to have a combat width. This one is 18. In each province, you can only have 80 width involved in a fight at once, and then each adjacent province can dedicate, I think, 20, or maybe it's 40. But either way, you can only have 80 in a province fighting at once. So you want to keep your divisions easily divisible into 80, so like 20, or there's arguments on how best to do it, but obviously like 10, 20, or 40 are the numbers you want to stick with. And from what I've read, 20 is probably the optimal number there. With 40, you are fielding too many divisions, your army's not very flexible, and with 10, there's no real downside to 10, it's just that you're having to crank out a lot of smaller divisions. And so as like reserves, for example, you could do 10 with like the garrison units, but on the front lines 20 is probably a good number, and it looks like we're hovering right about there, so we're 18. I don't have any experience to spend on these guys, but what I'd probably do is add like 2 artillery, because these are, I think, 1 width each. Oh no, +3. Okay. What if I add it here? Is it the same? Yeah, it's going to take it up. Well then, that's problematic. So I guess I can't add artillery. If I add it here, does it cost me any width? No. So maybe some support artillery. I would have preferred... Hang on, reset that. I would prefer to have artillery here, but it needs to be 20. And that's going to cost me 3 and make it 21. If I replace one of these, what does it become? +1. But I think that's on top of what those guys counted as. So that puts me at 19. That is difficult. So I think what I would probably do... I need 2 more width, so how would I get 2 more width? Probably just more infantry, right? Yeah, is that my only option? Anti-air is a little bit less. I'm curious, maybe we'll take a look at anti-tank artillery since we don't have any experience to spend anyways, so we can't actually do this right now. We're just sort of speculating. But if, for example, anti-air costs... Oh, no, it's still +1. Oh, it's only 1. Okay, got it. So I could do a couple of these. We'll see if anti-tank is the same. If it's +1, then we can do 2 of them. If it's +2, then we can do 1 of them. And then what I'll probably do is do an artillery support. So an artillery company or something. I don't know. But we need to start production on something. I don't have tungsten, so I don't really want to do that. Let's just start with production on, I guess, anti-air, since we could afford that. So start producing those, and that's going to pretty much tap me for resources. Or is it? No, I could bump that up a little bit higher if I wanted. I'm going to do that. And then I'll probably trade for a little bit of aluminum so I can start making aircraft as well. Because I need it for this anyways. So let's go into trade, and we'll look at aluminum. And who do we want to be on the good side with? Because this is going to boost our relations with this faction as well. We could try the UK, France. I guess it really depends on how we want to go with our government. I'm sort of leaning toward staying authoritarian for now, and then once we've sort of weathered the storm, maybe going democratic. So it would be probably smart to trade with the UK. It also depends on how many convoys it's going to require. It would take 3. What about with France? It requires 0. That's probably the better choice then. Yeah, I'll do France. And we'll do the minimum here. So that's going to give me a little bit of aluminum and allow me to start making some aircraft. I'm still going to be short on rubber, but they should still be able to produce them, just not at full efficiency. So we'll get like roughly 8 of them a year, which I don't know, that's not particularly great, but at least it's a little bit of production. And then, you know, once we have the ability to trade for some rubber, we can really kick things in. Also, what we can do is down the line, we can try to get this a little bit early. That'll allow us to get rubber and oil from our provinces. So let's see. We have free dockyards, free military factories. That's going to be a thing for a while. No templates. Yeah, I'm aware of that. And insufficient resources, I'm aware of that. So now what we need to do is I'm going to basically take these guys. Did that not work? There we go. And this is going to be, we're going to basically make a Western army and an Eastern army. And we're going to have them start doing exercises so that we can get some experience. So your offensive doctrine. Okay. And let's see, thorough planner. Max entrenchment, huh? Well, I don't know who's the best person to choose. They're all skill 3 and field marshals. So what I'll probably do is give Stanislaw here the Western Army since he's offensive. Own combat with -10. That means we can actually go to 22 on our combat with because it'll count as 20. So let's give it to him. And then we're going to start them on exercises. So we'll slowly start accumulating this. And then in the east, we're going to have them join this army. And I'll give it to probably this field marshal here because he's defensive. And then you guys can start training. This is going to cost us equipment. And we'll suffer a little bit of attrition from that, but it's the only way for us to get army experience without being at war. And then finally, what we need to do is I'm gonna make another division here. We'll use this as a template, but we're gonna make them reserves. And let's see. Oh, hold on. So brigade is brigada. So I need to remember that. Because we're basically going to make like a reserve infantry. So we'll call it like infantry brigade. I assume that's what that means. And we're going to adjust the width to be 10. So let's see, that puts us at 12. That means I can remove a couple more here. What I'll probably do is get rid of these 3. Put a 4th here. And then I could give them something else. I don't know. I might just leave it at 8 and I can add more stuff later. Or I could just do 5 like this. And that puts us dead even at 10 and I can just give them supports. I'll probably leave it at 8 now though, and that gives me some flexibility later. And oh, too expensive? Really? It cost me? Okay, well I can't do that then. I wanted to make reserve infantry, but I guess we won't worry about that right now. Let's start training some of these guys. We're going to have them deploy probably right here for now. We can move them wherever we need them. And I'm going to put them at higher priority because we need to really crank these guys out. And then I should probably train some mountain infantry as well, because we are going to have to, if we're attacking Slovakia, we're going to need to cross these mountains. So I'll start training you guys there, and I'll put you on high priority as well. Okay, so that is pretty much our setup for the time being. I don't think we need to really do anything else. Obviously, we're not using our military factories at full capacity, but we kind of can't. We just don't have the resources to do it. So until we have enough resources to, you know, produce everything we want to produce and enough things that we need to produce, there's really no reason to maximize those. What else? Naval dockyards. Yeah, I don't really have ships that I need to build. I guess I could start making submarines or something. I'm not too concerned about our navy at this point, although convoys would be really useful. I think we'll be okay. So I'm not going to focus on those now. I just don't have the resources. Although if I had a little bit more steel, I could probably pull that off. I could rein these back a little bit. But I just can't see what we would need convoys for. Transports is the biggest thing, you know, and trade. We can trade with plenty of people that we're landlocked with, so it doesn't really matter. Obviously, we can trade with France if we need to, although if France goes, then we'll be in trouble. But I think, like, if we... France shouldn't fall unless we fall. Because obviously, for Germany to be strong enough to take on the Allies, they need to take over Poland, they need to take over Czechoslovakia, annex Austria, and I think Hungary stays independent but joins them. So yeah, they basically need to swallow up like everything in this area, and if we can prevent that, then they shouldn't be strong enough to defeat France and the UK. But the, you know, operative word there is shouldn't. We do have a small navy. What's in here? 3 submarines and 2 destroyers. Okay. Well, I'm probably going to end this episode here. This is sort of just like the episode 0 setup. And next episode we'll jump into the actual gameplay. But feel free to drop me any suggestions, guys. Again, the plan is to rush this national focus so that we can declare war on people. Our first war declaration is going to be on Czechoslovakia here. We're going to try to basically take... we don't want to grab this because we can easily be surrounded by Germany here. So we're going to leave that bit and probably just go right along this. Because that's a state, that's a small state, and that's a state. So basically, the border of this state and this state is where we're going to end it. So right along here. But we're going to try to grab all that. That'll make us a little bit stronger and eventually weaken, you know, Germany. And then we'll try to annex these guys or conquer them if we have to. But they have factories that we could really, really use. And that would also give us... I don't know if we get their units, to be honest. I don't know if we annex them if we get their army. But there would be more stuff that we could turn around and use against the Soviet Union. Assuming that we can't sort of deter them. They might ask us for Eastern Poland. I don't know how much of Poland that would be. But I'd be kind of reluctant to give away territory. So we need to build strength however we can. And try to have Germany dealt with. By dealt with, I don't mean like conquered or defeated. I just mean like deter them from attacking us, so that we can focus all of our efforts on the Eastern Front. Because obviously, if these guys could deal with Nazi Germany, you know, it's at its height, we're not going to stand much of a chance. So. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I had a great time playing some Hearts of Iron 4 with you, and I look forward to seeing you guys back here for the start of this campaign and the next episode.